What's up, guys? Welcome to the Comfort Zone Podcast, Season 1, Episode 1. Me and Dalton here, coming live. Our main,
Winging's really working
Yeah.
for you, ain't
yeah,
it? I'm Dalton.
Brandon.
Yeah, so basically, our main thing is we want to talk about people being in business for themselves, whether it's like we do with self-home repair, flipping houses. We've got some home inspectors that are going to come talk with us. We got some musicians that are going to come talk with us. Um, it's just we want to talk about getting out of your comfort zone and pursuing a dream, and kind of the ins and outs with work, life, and balancing that together.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it that people don't see from the outside. Everybody usually thinks it's unicorns and rainbows, and you got the flexible schedule, and you hear, oh, you own your own business, you have money.
Yeah.
It's not always the case. A lot of people don't talk about that. They just talk about, oh, you're a business owner, because the numbers are really low on business owners here in America that are small business owners like us that actually succeed and make it.
Yeah.
So, luckily enough, thank God we're here. We actually have a successful business with the cell phone repair, and another successful business, with flipping houses and getting into the real estate, which is a new venture for us, which kind of got us started on this because we were like, man, there's not a lot of information out there for people who are new like us. Um, you see a lot of the people that are like, oh, they're super successful. Yeah, they made it, but we're starting from ground zero to doing our first flip. And so, we kind of want to start there, I think, with the first couple and just kind of show you guys how we started with networking, with real estate agents, with meeting people. Dalton had a lot of connections and made a lot of relationships there within that business, and it's been fun, and there's so much that goes into it that we had no idea, and we just felt like there was a need to speak it, and so here we are.
Yeah. Which the need hasn't always been something like, oh, hey, we want it to be about us. We're going to come talk. Uh, what it comes down to is we do a lot of dumb videos, and we do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff with different businesses, and we like to have fun at work. We've just had a few people reach out. I was like, dude, y'all need to do this, so we're gonna try it. One thing I want to touch on that you said was you were talking about work, right? So like, how many times do you? Because I hear this all the time. How many times do you hear, "Man, all y'all do is play golf," or all
Oh
like,
yeah.
how do you have time to do these things and still earn a living, especially from family?
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
And friends.
Oh yeah.
What are you going to the office today? No. Oh, were you playing golf?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I do other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mainly
Pick up kids.
housewife.
Housewife.
Laundry.
Yeah. And for you guys that are watching, we're new to this, so I think it's going to be a little easier when we have a guest to have the conversation. So when it's just me and Brandon, which we're going to try to keep it even balance of just us versus us with the guest, we're going to be talking to each other and talking to the camera. So
Yeah, this is our first podcast setting where you're really having a conversation.
yeah,
We're not really like making a video promoting the business or
Yeah.
talking about selling something. We're just
yeah.
talking. So yeah,
Believe it or
with
not,
us.
we do some of our videos. Our best videos were very unscripted, where we winged it, but it took multiple takes to get one out. Most of the time, you put a camera on this guy, and it's it's a lot.
It's fun.
Yeah. No. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. We shot a commercial, just to tell everybody what we're talking about. We shot a commercial for the theaters to go in the local theaters to go beforehand. We talked about it about a year ago and just didn't feel like it was worth the money. We don't know that it is or isn't, but we were like, let's do it for a year. Let's try it. It was, I don't know, 35, 4,000, somewhere around there for the year. But we shot our own commercial, and it is It's stupid. I don't have a better way to say it.
It's like a yeah, it's like a Napoleon Dynamite slash Step Brothers
Yeah,
comedy. You know, it's
it's 30 seconds.
you can't take yourself too serious and
No,
watch it.
no, and then that's talking about that is getting uncomfortable, right? Getting comfortable in front of a camera, being goofy. I mean, he had a wig on, long hair wig. Um,
Oh,
I'm
good.
yeah. So I mean, and we're using like weird voices, and basically the premise to it, if you haven't seen it, the video will be on the same places that we post this, so you can go find it pretty easily. But it's our one of our company names is ETX Phone Repair, and everybody thinks it's East Texas Phone Repair or all that. And for a long time, we had our marketing said we fix phones, so people would call and say, "Hey, is this we fix phones?" So
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
yeah, it is. But I had one of our employees. He'd answer the phone and say, "Hey, this is East Texas Phone Repair. Thanks for calling. Hey, this is East Texas Phone Repair. Thanks for calling." And I was like, "Hey, man, it's ETX Phone Repair. It's not East Texas Phone Repair." He goes, "Well, what does ETX stand for?" I was like, "Not East Texas." And, I didn't have an answer for him, and I was calling Brandon one day, and we are trying to talk about what we were going to do for the commercial. I was like, "Well, just ad lib some stuff, record it. So if we come up with something funny, we'll do it." And I walk outside and I video, and the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, "Yeah, a lot of you guys think East Texas Phone Repair or ETX Phone Repair stands for East Texas Phone Repair. Well, it doesn't. It actually stands for Extremely Totally Extreme Phone Repair." So if you can kind of get the vibe of what
Yeah,
we did with the commercial,
go check it
very
out.
mattress commercial from the '90s, big commercials. So yeah, my family loves going to the movie theater and seeing my face on the big screen acting a fool.
Yeah, I need to take mine because
Yeah,
they would love it.
yeah, I could see your kids being hyped.
Oh, I'm sure that I wouldn't want to go with them because they'd be like, "That's my dad."
Well, the first time we watched it, I'm sitting with Chelsea and my parents came and Jensen's over there eating popcorn, and we see it and I was like, "That was me," and Chelsea turned bright red, embarrassed,
Yep.
you know. But um, okay, so let's go into. I actually used to work for Brandon, so I was 18 or 19. Came and worked for you at the cell phone repair shop. You had
Yep.
another business partner.
Yep.
Um,
We hired Dalton. He came in. I think he was our third employee, third or fourth that we had tried. Actually, no, if you count for the other stores, probably fifth or sixth. Nobody really made it more than 3 or 4 months.
yeah,
And uh, Dalton hung in there, lasted longer than most.
yeah.
We ended up opening
It wasn't
Sulphur
always the
Springs.
employee's fault, by the way, of why they didn't make it. Yeah,
We'll dive into that later.
yeah.
into
Let's speak up a little bit too. I think we're. I heard the AC kick on, and
oh
I
yeah,
don't know
good.
how that's going to get with these
Let's
cheap
move these.
microphones. Keep in mind too, we just starting this. We just painted this wall. We're going to get this set up for where we could have up to 4 people on the pod. Still
Yeah,
working on getting microphones and everything that we need to get it set up where it's clean and good quality. But bear with us until then.
yeah, no
But
doubt.
but
So yeah, he came in, and we had Pablo was my other business partner, which he was 10 years older than me, which kind of helped get me out of my shell. Uh, I think that's another day to talk about how me and him got into business together and how everything
yeah.
worked out. But
And we'll have him on the pod.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
going to come
he'll
talk.
he'll come hang out with us. But it's we had Dalton. He worked for us here, Sulphur Springs, back and forth. Um, I don't know where'd you go after that?
When I got married,
Verizon.
yeah, no. When I got married, I went and sold cars.
Oh yeah,
So I went to a dealership. I won't say their name in Longview, and I did not do well at all there. And talking about comfort zone, a big part of it was for me was I went into an area that I didn't know a lot about. I knew I could build connections. I was always good with people. Um,
yep,
didn't really know what networking was at the time. Didn't know how to build a pipeline. But I felt like, okay, I can sell. Um, and I was pretty much bullied at this dealership and didn't, and you know me, I'm not somebody that's easy to bully. My mouth gets a hold of me, but I'm newly married, I'm young, and I'm like, no, I need to take this and learn. And I learned a lot, but I also learned a lot of what not to take and what not to do. So when I
Yeah.
left that dealership, went to another dealership, one of the first things I did in the interview was like, hey, I'm not good with XYZ. I'm not worried about showing here at 7:30, leaving here at 9 o'clock at night. You know, I'm gonna sell what I'm gonna sell. I don't want to draw. I just want to get paid on what I sell. And I want to try it a different way. Which, if any of you guys have been in a dealership, that's not how they work. So
No.
I went to a different dealership in Texarkana, and it was an hour drive from me. So you work a lot of hours at a dealership, and I did a lot better at that dealership where I was given the opportunity to be more my own, schedule, my own boss in a way. Like I had bosses and stuff, but like I didn't. That was the first job I took. That was like you need me here as much as I need to be here. Like I'm bringing you money. That's why you're hiring me, right? And that's the first time I had that mindset as an employee of like, yes, I'm working for a company to a certain level of respect. Because me and Brandon didn't ever bump heads. Me and Pablo bumped heads a little bit because I was young, and then I went and did a polar opposite and just took everything, didn't open my mouth, and kind of had to find that balance of like, respect for your people that are hiring you, but also respect for yourself.
Yeah.
And had two edges of that spectrum at 19. So by the time I was married and going into this dealership, I was a little bit more confident in what I could do. So I was able to set those boundaries ahead of time.
Yeah, which plays into like the respect of the people you work for and respect for yourself. Me and Dalton got along really well and always had a good relationship even after he went and sold cars, and I was still here at the Cell Phone Repair. And so Pablo ended up getting into the real estate, and I bought him out completely 4 or 5 years ago. Dalton was at the right place and right time to buy into himself and come on board with me. And how long's it been?
Almost
2
a year
years.
almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
Almost, it's not quite 2 years. It was when Pablo was buying out, you had called me. I think you talked to Cole, you talked to me,
Yep.
And was seeing if somebody wanted to do that. At that time, I had left the car business and was working for a different company, a corporate company. But I worked for two other cell phone providing companies that I did really well in, and it didn't. At the time, I was like, I always wanted to be self-employed because, like I said, that's the mindset I had. But that fear was still there because I was like, man, I make really good money. I can do, I can do this job and retire. I can work for somebody, and there's nothing wrong with that. That just wasn't my end goal, and I didn't do it at the time. And then, like he said, right time, a few years later, the company I was working for that I won't name was making some changes that I didn't agree with, both because of how it treated me financially and some ethical things. But our department ended up getting shut down. Took a severance and was like, all right, I'm ready. So it's kind of where we
worked out. Yeah,
we started, and definitely got busy right off the bat. And one thing when we came in is like, hey, we need to revamp. Kind of been here a long time. We're a little bit complacent. And after that's 3 months, 4 months, we remodeled, changed a bunch of stuff, rebranded. Things were going good, and had employees, so didn't have to be here as much. Started playing a lot of golf.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, so got back to kind of that complacency, and pretty much got to a point where like, all right, we do have time. We need to be doing something else. And in the meantime, we've tried several different things, some that are okay, some that weren't worth the time. Brandon spent a few $1,000s on a 360 camera that we were going to rent out, but then neither one of us wanted to go to a wedding to do them.
It's still in my garage if anybody wants to use it.
Yeah, we're going to use it for one of our employees' weddings. So but
I was all for it. I was like, man, I'm going to make a killing on this thing. I'm going to take it to ball tournaments and dance competitions and pay for my hotels.
But then you'd rather
still sitting in the
just
garage.
go there.
I'm like, it's because that's part of the process of elimination when you're looking at stuff to do when you've already been successful and you're at that place like Dalton said where you have a little time now. You might not even have a lot of money, but you have the time to invest into something. Do you want to buy a job? You know, are you willing to give up your weekends to, have a side gig? And at the time, I thought I was until I actually got into it, and I'm like, man, I can't do it because I'm chasing schedules with the ball. I'm not going to miss Jackson's game just to go set up this camera, even though I'd probably make $200 or $300.
I think you make more than that. I think there's definitely
I'm
money
talking about
there.
during a game,
Oh, yeah.
like 1 hour. Like
Yeah.
I know it would have done well. And the dance competition is the same way. Like I wish, which Landon, I hope you're watching this. He's a little older now. He could probably go set that thing up and make some money on the weekends, so he's not just sitting out in the stands because he complains all the time. Plus, he cost me $50 a weekend at the concession stand, so he might could pay his own
I
way.
think it's a little generous.
Yeah, it is.
But
I should have said a day.
yeah. I think so. Just to kind of give a little bit more insight on like how our partnership works, though, is both of us are pretty big on like we'll get excited, we get overboard on some of the ideas, but like for instance, that one he buys it and he comes to me and hey, if you don't want anything to do with this, that's fine. If you do, let's do something. We'll work out. What's going to happen. He's like, I don't. You can pay me back your half of the equipment if we start making money. If you don't, I'll just keep it. I'll use it on personal stuff and all that stuff. But part of what I do is like networking. So, while he's doing that, he's kind of working on the software side, trying to figure out how this thing operates, figuring out the setup. While I go into the marketing side, I start creating logos. I start calling venues. I start getting, connections with all this stuff to get it set up. And that's where when he's working on his thing and I'm working on my thing and we go sit down, we realize this is a full-time job.
Yeah,
this isn't a side gig. And it'd have been nice to know it before he spent the $3,000 or whatever. Yeah, but there's some things you just you have to have the willingness to try something.
Right.
Just
like he said, our partnership, it's funny because that's how it still is, even on a bigger scale. The small side of it was, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to really ask for permission. I'm going to spend the money and we'll deal with it later. Yeah. That's me. I'm more like, let's go do it. Dalton is like, he gets excited and he wants to do everything, and he will if it's his idea. But I'm more like, I'll reel him in, he'll reel me in. So we're really a good blend because we keep each other from doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, if you'd have called me before buying
it, I don't buy this. But because I wasn't asking for any money, I was just like, I don't need anybody's permission.
Yeah.
Even Courtney was
his wife Courtney didn't even know about it until it showed up.
I was like, this thing's cool. We're going to get rich.
Yeah. But then so that's okay. We'll talk about that. That's how you pitched it. You bought it already and said, I want to do this. This. I had one that I pitched. And this one I actually really enjoy, but it's at the level of hobby. Like, we don't make money on it, but we don't lose money on it. It's one of those deals to where we get enough in return for doing it that it's still worth the time, but it's also something that has the potential to grow if we really wanted to do it. And in all honesty, down the road, if we have, a little more cash flow, we want to hire somebody in to handle it for us, we could. But it was a spice company. It's called Tasteful Texan Spice Co. And make barbecue rubs and stuff like that. My belly's hidden in the can roast part, but I'm a bigger dude. I like to eat. I like to cook.
Me too.
So my thing is like, Brandon, I don't think I've ever cooked for you before this. I mean, most of the time it's just
because we go out to eat. We met, y'all come to Texarkana,
or it's a catered Super Bowl party or something. I was like, hey man, let's go play golf. Let's go to Sam's Club. We'll buy some steaks. I got something I want to cook for you. I'm going to show you. And he kind of knew what I was doing, but I don't think we had talked about the ins and outs of it.
No, I was thinking I wasn't prepared to see how, involved the ingredient list was. I thought it'd be like 3 or 4 things you bought at Walmart, know.
Yeah.
So to see it, the ingredient list, to taste it, smell it, like it was.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah. So it was pretty good. It is good.
It is good. I mean,
if you're local to Mount Pleasant, we're in Mason's Hardware, True Value. So check them out there.
And I got a free ribeye. So
yeah. So, but yeah, so that's how I present it. I'm like, hey, I got something to show you. I'm gonna cook for you and your family. I want Brian to taste it. I want to hear everybody's opinions. What you think of it? Would you put your name on it? So there's a little differences in how we present things to each other, but
got to the same place, same result, but different ways.
No, we've made zero money on yours. We've made at least our money back on mine.
Crap. I'm gonna take that thing out this weekend.
Yeah, okay. We'll see.
Hot Springs.
No, you're not.
Come see me in Hot Springs baseball fields.
This isn't going to be uploaded until after that weekend. So next time we record, we'll
Dang
see
it.
if you actually did it or not.
You know I won't.
No. The funny thing is, we argue on whose idea this one is because we talked about it.
That's my idea.
It is.
Ain't no doubt.
No, it is my idea.
I'm older. I
brought this to you before we were even partners. I said, hey, this would be awesome.
There's no
before
way,
we were partners.
I really would tell you if I thought it was your idea.
Here's the thing. The fact that it's not super successful, I'm good with it being your idea. But
it's the best out of those three.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It is. No. Yeah. Seasoning's the best.
No. I mean, money-wise.
Yeah. But because it's, like you said earlier, buying yourself a job. I believe, and I think Brandon would agree, if we could put 40 hours a week into Tasteful Texan Spice Co., it would be, I mean, I think it would gross, within 3 years, it'd gross what the cell phone repair does. I mean, I really think you could if you get those right purchasers from different stores to buy.
I think so.
But we just don't have the time for that. It's buying a job. Where the other idea, which I will say I'll give 100% credit for the name. It's called Massage Therapist.
I love it.
Yeah. So here's how it's my idea. I was sitting in a massage chair at the mall watching my wife shop, and I was like, man, this is awesome. I done fed this thing $20. So I hit up Brandon and was like, hey, you ever sit in these? He's like, yeah, I love those. They got them at the junk place that I go to or whatever. So that's where, like, he's probably had the same idea, but I'm the one that brought it to him. So
I don't remember that, but
so I'm trying to find locations for them. I'm like, hey, let's find locations for them. We'll order them. We'll get them put in. We'll schedule it beforehand.
This is our different.
Brandon's like, let's just buy them. We'll find locations.
Yeah,
we'll put the pressure on us.
Buy them now. We'll deal with it later. And Dalton's like, let's find the locations. We know we'll be good. We're not going to lose any money then. And I'm like, no, we got to just buy them. Do it.
Do it. So we bought them, 5 chairs. $15,000?
So it was the reason we bought 5 too is because if you buy 1, 2, 3, or 4, it was a certain price. But if you blocked it in at 5, it was a big savings for 5. So we had like 2 locations at that point. One was our cell phone repair. So
that made no money except for the money we fed it.
Which that'll be another podcast day because I can't disclose our next location just yet. Yeah. But we do have something good in the works for those chairs, so I think they're going to do really well. But
a year after purchasing them.
Yeah. So I'm not condoning my theory on things because I think it works for certain people. I will say, without Dalton, it would be hard to not think like I think because I know how he works. He knows how I work. I'm more a visual person. If I see the chairs here, it's gonna stir him up, and he's gonna go out there and do it.
Well, by the way,
we
have a brand new chair in the box 3 feet away from me behind me right now.
Yes,
that we do have a location for that we can't disclose just yet, but it's been sitting there.
It's been there for a minute. I have one in my living room right now because we had a location that moved.
I went to his house the other day, and he's just got like about a $50 to $60 stack of $1 bills sitting on the couch with the key. So him and his kids can just feed it and sit and watch TV while getting the massage, and then open it up to.
It's worth it just for that.
Yeah. So that's why he enjoys the chairs more. I just don't get to use one.
Yep. Yeah, we kept that one in the box. We're trying to keep it pristine, but yeah. I mean,
which was our original plan, was to get 4 locations, keep one for backup for parts or if something goes down long term. But
and from the outside looking in, because I can see it from my wife's perspective and stuff like that. It's like it seems like we're chaotic, but really there's a lot that goes into the thoughts that we have and the things that we do when it comes to spending money like that. And it is very calculated. I know it doesn't seem like it is, and the way we talk about it, it's like we just did it. That's not the case. Even with the chairs, this stuff was months
Yeah, yeah,
in advance and talking about it.
Yeah.
And
other than
yeah, so I mean, but the thing is, and this is the
360.
reason we're having this podcast, is because some people are afraid to take the leap. They won't get out of their comfort zone, and that's where once you kind of do it once, it starts becoming almost a habit, and you know the ways to do it. You know how the money works. You know what to look for, who to talk to, and if you don't know, you know that you just have to get out there and do it. Because I mean, that whole massage chair world was. We didn't know about the laws. We didn't know about permits. We didn't know about any of that stuff. If we needed to have
how
stuff
a
through the
POS
state,
system can work through
right?
it. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of stuff that we had to figure out even before we bought, and stuff we still have to figure out now. I mean, but I think the main thing is not being sporadic or chaotic, like I said, in your decision making, but being calculated and not being scared to take a risk.
Yeah, and what we're learning with real estate is having multiple exit strategies if that said business doesn't work out. So, like, if we really went down to it, we bought them at barely above. So there's two ways to buy massage chairs, just if anybody ever wants to do it.
Yeah.
So you can buy through an authorized dealer, which is going to be a United States dealer. None of these chairs are made in the States. So we have our import license. So we could technically direct buy from China, which you have to buy freight, which means you're going to buy them for, I mean, not pennies on the dollar, but like 75% less per chair. You can buy direct from China. They'll ship into Houston port, and then you just have to pay to get them from on the crate, basically from Houston to wherever your location is. The big thing is you got to buy 22.
Yeah, it was a lot more on those,
but I mean, no, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
So just to tell you, we spent right at $15K for 5. It was like 5K for 22.
It was not. Yeah.
So,
but I think another factor was because that was for the chairs. It was going to cost us I want to say if I'm right, it was going to be like $6 or $7 grand for freight after.
Yeah, so. And then getting it here, which I had some connections and
it would have
too. We could have got them.
Definitely would have been better to have 22 for that price, but at the point we kind of weighed our.
We didn't have a place options. To store them. Like, hey, that's the other thing is if we do that, is it a year or 2 years before we have them all in locations? Or we're gonna have to store them, pay $80 or $100 or whatever it is because they got to be climate controlled. So like there's a lot of that, and the big thing with what I was getting to with it is with the massage chairs, buying them and not having a location for them didn't hurt us the way I thought it was, because even if we had a location for them, there's so many locations that we put them in that did not work out at first, right? So like we would have had to have that inventory to try the type of places to see where they're going to work beforehand. Like I'll tell you, our best chairs are in hair salons and tattoo shops. I mean, we put them in high traffic, high busy waiting rooms, didn't do well. And I think a part of it is like they'd be tucked in the corner.
Yeah, because location is key, and signage or something to get people's attention.
Another thing is embarrassment. People aren't going to sit there in a chair with their body shaking, in front of a room full of crowded people. So you want it where it's a high traffic area where people are going to be walking by it, but not
to wherever you're just staring at everybody. Which I mean, the malls, they work, and you're right in the middle of a crowded
but usually
area.
They're walking by. They're not stopping and sitting right next to you, like just watching you shake a little bit. One of the fun things with that was, remember how there's 3 vents on that chair that kind of compress your butt, and there's one that just goes right up your crack.
Yeah, like a just a mohawk, right?
Credit card slip.
Yeah, for sure, but not a credit card, like a baseball bat.
So we called the company we bought them from and say, hey, how do we disable just that one
We're not trying to get sued for
Yeah.
violating people with these chairs. This thing is aggressive.
Well, what was it I said? I said, we're the massage therapist, not the massage chair rapist. So, and
Yeah, we had to just unplug a tube. She told us which number, and we did it on all of them.
yeah, everyone we installed, which believe it or not, the hair salon, they asked how to install it back in. They're like, well, we just feel like it needs to get the whole butt area. I was like, well, here's how you plug it in if you want to, but I
Don't suggest it.
recommend not having it there.
Ugh. But yeah, the exit strategy on those was buy in bulk. Whatever we can't get placed into a location, we'll sell because we bought them cheap enough.
Yeah.
So we kind of, our number at that time was 5. Even though we could have saved some more money and got a bunch more, we were still new to the business, that industry, that side of things. And on top of that, I think another thing that helped have the chairs was getting yeses, because it's hard to get when you're being honest with them and saying, hey, I'm going to order these, they don't take you very serious.
Yeah.
When you have them, like, hey, I have it, I can have it here today.
Which, that being said, most of the time, even if you have them in stock and you're going to do it, scheduling usually takes you a week to get there anyways.
Yeah.
And the company we ordered from, like, they showed up very quickly.
Oh, man, it was like 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were not prepared.
No, not at all. Like, we're at lunch, got done, like, eating, and we get a call, and there's a guy with a big 18-wheeler in our front of our office, like, hey, where do I put these? Everything's locked up. So we had to rush back and get them loaded. Barely fit through the door.
Yeah, they were huge.
Yeah, so it was that was a fun day.
That's been fun. I mean, that was another one that I just, honestly, I forget we have them. We check them pretty much now once a month.
Yeah.
And you know, it's.
I go get my haircut at the salon that we do it at, so that one's easy. But I know, I don't have any tattoos, so I'm not going to get tattoos every day. So I always forget to go check with Billy. But when's the last time you went to the other one?
Last month.
Yeah,
it's a time for me to go. I need to go.
It takes 3 months for that one to make the same as the other ones in 1 month.
That was and it's there's probably 10 times more people in there, but it's just not in the best area. But that I don't know if we've done anything else or spent any more money since then, but that's just a year and a half of me and Dalton being in business.
Well, okay, so this is something you guys will meet JT if you're following us. He's a contractor that works with us on our flip houses. He's going to come on. Something that he does that I did when I first went into business myself is you want merch.
Oh, man.
You get something, you want your logo on everything, which is cool. You know, it's cool.
You should be proud.
Lighters,
you should be proud.
Decals, hats, shirts, you're going to. But you really got to think about the overhead on it. And, as much as it's cool, we got custom golf stuff with ETX Phone Repair on it.
Yeah, hats, koozies. I have koozies from 10 years ago.
I do too. The pink, yellow, lime green.
It's crazy. That stuff is, I mean, it's good, but that's a great point, because when you're new, spend more on marketing. I know Facebook's not as good as it used to be.
But shirt and hats is marketing. I will say, when it comes to that, if that's in your budget, you're going to wear it. Your family's going to wear it. You have people you're going to give it to.
That's more on the bottom end of, I need a little bit of an expense here, but let me market for myself at least. But, you need to, do Facebook, Google is better. And
word of mouth. Word of mouth.
Add that up.
Word of mouth. If you're not asking for referrals, and it's not so much here, like in a cell phone repair shop, 60 to 70% of our clientele are repeat customers. So that's awesome. But most of the time, and we have a great group of friends that if they see something on Facebook, they're tagging like, hey, ETX Phone Repair. But that, I think, for new customers, builds us more new customers than anything, more than the
it does
stuff.
For sure.
Which he did. He said he called the other day, and an older guy calls and says, "Is this totally extreme phone repair? Because I need an extreme phone repair done on my phone today." And he's like, "I was like, do you tell me he gets a discount?"
Yeah,
man
for sure.
A discount. But,
I'm down with that.
Yeah,
I want to take him to lunch.
Yeah, but which, I mean, and I've heard a few people, like, I go to the dollar store and they're, "You the extreme guy?" I'm like, but it's you don't live here, so you don't see it as much. But it has, like, it's done something. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it again or I'm not happy with the commercial, but that word of mouth is big. And I'm not saying when you get done, like if you're in a a sales environment and you get done, you pull out the paper and it's like, do you have 5 friends that could
Right.
benefit from the same service you got today? I hate that crap.
Yeah.
But asking for the business for one, I mean, I see it all the time. One thing here is tempered glass. They're $5. We sell them for $5 if
Yeah.
somebody needs one. How many repairs we do a day if 25% of the people said yes to a tempered glass? That's an extra,
It would,
8-10 grand a year.
yeah, it would almost pay our rent,
Yeah, for the year.
really just to ask people if they want a screen protector, which they do.
Yeah.
Most
So
of
the
the
thing
time.
is as simple as like it's not sales. It's just I told all our employees, and I'm bad about forgetting to do it too. Is every time you're checking somebody out, would you like a tempered glass for $5? They say yes. Great, I'll put it on for you. They say no. Okay, no problem. Move on. You're not giving a pitch. You're not doing,
Yeah.
but you're asking for business, and that is something that I think any business, regardless of what it is, I don't care if you're a lawn care guy and you're
Yeah.
going door knocking and hey, I can do it for this. And like, oh, I already got somebody. Ask them to use you. Like, however you want to word it, and be like, great, well, hey, I'll do this time for free. I'll do this time for free. If you
Yeah.
like me, would you consider using me instead of somebody else? Yes, you're taking your time out of your day for whatever it is to do that, but you're asking for the business and you may not get it, but you have to ask for the business. I had a manager that was at the dealership that I felt like I was bullied at a little bit. And when I mean that, I mean it was playful men bullying. It's just I didn't know how to take it. I wasn't mature enough to know how to take it and give it back
Yeah.
to the appropriate amount. If I was to go work with those same guys now, like I'm
You'd
a
be
completely
fine.
different person. They wouldn't even recognize me. You know what I mean? But the big thing is one of the things he said. I remember he was in a sales training was um, he was telling a story about a guy that couldn't get the customer to close to buy the car. And he's like, did you ever ask them? Like, just reach out your hand and say, Mr. Customer, like, we're right there on it. We're very close. This is where we're at. Will you buy my car? Just as simple as that. And he went back in and did it, and the guy bought that car. Now, that's not going to happen every single
Right.
time, but ask for the business. If you've
Yeah.
done your due diligence, you've marketed, you've built a name, you do good quality service or whatever it is, ask for the business.
Yeah, and I think when I first got started, I was green. I was younger
You got
than
water?
Dalton.
I'm not drinking after you. Hey, bring me a water. That's the nice part of employees.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, the main thing is for me was like I'm gonna fix these phones, right? And I'm gonna have this or even DirecTV or whatever else I'm doing. At the time when I was young, I felt like I had to give everybody that I knew a discount. And it took me 4 or 5 years to be in business to realize that if they're really your friend or you know them that well, they want to give you the money and they got to pay somebody to do it.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they pay you, even if you don't get a discount, or even if it's $5 or $10 more? They're supporting a friend because that's the way I am. If I can support my friend, I'm going to before anyone else.
But there's areas that are easier for you to discount. Like I can't. You come in with a Galaxy S22.
It's true, yeah. You got to learn
There's
it.
so much risk. The parts are so expensive. I can't. I can't really give a discount on that, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
Um,
The point
you
is
need a
your
case or a
price.
tempered glass. I'll hook a friend up.
Your price is your price.
Yeah.
And just be stand on that. And I mean, you can, where you have leniency and you can give a little bit to people you love. You should, but you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to stand on your price and be firm with it because time is money and it is what it is. It took me.
On the other side of that, though, even with not necessarily friends or family, but just customers in general, goes back into not just asking the business, but earning the business.
Yeah.
Is half a loaf is always better than none.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't want to sell yourself short, but there are times too where it's like I could lose this because of my pricing, I said, or I could cut some losses and do this at a better rate that helps out. And I'll tell you, most of the deals we make with people, or most of the time when we're giving that, is it's repeat customers, but it's also people that you can just tell need it. And I have no problem doing it in those circumstances. The problem is we have had some that we do,
Hmm.
and on that second or third time, they're like, "Well, you did it for this much that time." I was like,
Yeah.
and you just,
It's a
I can't
snowball.
do it
I mean,
that every time. Like I helped you out. You were in a situation. Like I helped you. I have no problem doing it, but like that's not your price
it's
for
not a
life
price
now.
lock. Yeah.
It is normal price. I can't. So
That's happened a lot to us here and
yeah,
just in this industry. I don't know about most, but it's a little harder for us because people do know this business is flexible.
yeah,
And you can look on Amazon or eBay and see how much parts cost. And we don't hide anything from our customers too. That's something that I pride on is we're very transparent. They know what we're worth. I mean, I'll tell them up front what labor is. You can look
yeah.
up the part
I
yourself.
mean,
I mean,
labor for standard labor is anywhere from $60 to $150,
and with what we do, yeah,
depending on what the risk is. It does not matter uh, on the phone so much.
yeah,
It's the part cost. So I mean, realistically, if I'm charging more than $100, that means that there's a risk that something could go wrong, and now I have to buy somebody $1,000 device. So at that point,
take a
risk
break.
makes sense.
It's a school.
Okay, I'm gonna
Pause.
real quick.
Bing.
Sorry about that. We got a call from my son's school. He getting his first spanking today, so gotta learn how to act.
Yeah, it happens on them days, man.
Yeah, but
It's Thursday.
so a couple other things that we wanted to talk about to finish up was basically time.
Yep.
We were talking about having a lot of free time. Talking about having what do you keep looking at over there?
Heath was talking.
Hey, stop talking to us. We're talking about having a lot of free time, and how sometimes when you're busy, your family doesn't really understand because you've had so much free time that week, and then something happens, and like you're in crunch time. You have to handle stuff at the office, go handle, speak with electricians at a flip, whatever it is. You get busy, and it's not that they mean to take advantage of it, but sometimes that happens. Brandon has seen we use my wife's side door for her office as a drive-through window because we're constantly bringing her coffees and snacks and whatever she wants to think. And she's like, "Well, if you don't bring it, I'm going to DoorDash."
Oh yeah.
So,
I know if my office is in Texarkana, Courtney would be the same way.
oh yeah,
And because I am running around with the kids all day when I am in Texarkana and home, and it's almost like whenever you're starting out, and you don't have a lot of money, and you're trying to save or you're trying to make more money at your job, and you end up every year getting a raise. Typically, what do?
you
You spend more money, and that's exactly kind of what I did in a sense. Was as my business got more successful and I had more employees, I had more time. But instead of taking the time and putting it into my savings, I used it up, golfed, whatever I could with the kids, and now it's almost as uh, that it doesn't exist. I never really got that to where I could put that back into me. It was more, you know, it got too comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
Which is okay because
But it becomes a habit.
that was the reason I wanted to do what I do is I want to be there for my kids and for my family but I guess what my warning is just to be aware of it and use your time wisely and take advantage of when you do get more time to be smarter than what I was with it.
Have the conversations with your family because I mean the big thing is both of us are fortunate that our families are both a tremendous amount of help when it comes to picking up kids, getting kids to sporting events, getting them from daycare, school, watching them if we're going, you need a date night because you've been busy. So like we're both very fortunate with families that are very helpful. And and then, like I say, they take advantage. It's not meant in like a spiteful or meanful or even they
Yeah.
mean to. It's just, oh well, Dalton's not working tomorrow. He's doing this. He can do this. And sometimes when we go play golf, like what it is like we'll need to meet in Texarkana, which is an hour out of the way for me, or we'll need to meet in Mount Pleasant. It's an hour out of the way for you. And it's like, hey, if we're going to make that drive, and we've got 2 hours worth of work that we have to do from 2 to 4.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, let's do something to fill that morning up. Sometimes there is something with one of our businesses that we can do, but if there's not, and we want to take advantage of those times to go play golf, to go, sometimes we've taken the kids bowling or something in
Yeah.
downtime, and then they, come hang out with us for the day if we have the kids. But the big thing is to not get complacent, and don't let your family get complacent to the aspect of like, oh, he went and did this, he's free all day. That's not always the case, because as somebody that's self-employed, your busy comes and goes, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
8 o'clock, 7:30 phone calls at night that you get, because the real estate agent you're working with has been busy, he's been showing all day. So then when you got the questions on an offer you're trying to do, that's the only time he can talk. Or first thing in the morning, inspector's got to be there at 6:30, 5:30. That's the only time he can do, because he's got other inspections to do. And now you got to get up early and do that. But then the rest of your day may be a normal day, but they're not seeing the little bit that you're doing at different odd hours. And sometimes, I don't know if you deal with this, but like when you take that phone call at 7:30, 8:30 at night, and you're watching a TV show with your spouse, they're not usually happy about it. They're usually like, you worked all day, or you couldn't handle that, during
Yep.
business hours. And there's not really business hours when you're self-employed. It
No.
is any time that your phone rings that something that needs your attention.
Yeah.
That's when you're working. So there is a lot of free time, but there's a lot of working when you really don't want to be working.
Yep.
Sorry, had our audio cut out. So the big thing is that I'm working on is I lost my train of thought because we stopped. What did I say?
You said, well, you used to say when you were with that company.
Oh, okay, start over. So so the big thing is trying to find that balance. When I was with another company, I worked. I had a company phone, and I was salary, so I should technically have my phone all the time. And this is sometimes like, I'm not going to do that. I clock in at 8. I'm not really clocking in, but I get my company vehicle at 8. I'm done at 5. Sometimes I worked late because clients needed me. But when I pulled in my driveway and I turned the ignition off, my phone, my tablet, all my work devices stayed in there, and I was able to check out. But it wasn't my business. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that's
I had a
different.
salary plus a commission and all this stuff, and I was able to handle clients. I had my phone. I say, hey, thanks for calling. I'll get back with you. From my callback time is this time to this time, and I would have an hour a day that was my callback time. That was when I got back with people, and there's a way to structure that in some businesses, but with us, especially, I mean, you have light guys. We have cell phone repair, tasteful Texan, massage therapist, 88 Elite. You're doing so many things. You can't just say, all right, I'm turning my phone off this weekend
No,
because
you
I'm on
can't.
vacation.
I
You were
can't
in
at all.
Mexico when we closed on, or when we bought a house.
Yeah.
You're in Mexico, and I was like, I need your signature. Can you get some Wi-Fi if I email you something? We're buying a house.
Yay.
So
Luckily, I had Wi-Fi.
yeah, and this was a house we hadn't seen. I made a video on this before we close out, and I know we got one more thing to talk about to close out, but I never asked you. So like, I'm in States, you're in Mexico, you're on vacation, you're having libations, you're working on a different realm of being than I am.
Oh yeah.
And we get the call from David that they need us to buy this house. I don't remember the whole stories on it, but like, I'm driving, so I'm halfway in a rush. We've been looking for a house, and we're ready to get started, and we're pretty much like, well, I trust David. Signed the contract, got you to sign the contract, and then went and looked and said, okay, where is this house? How much did we just agree to pay for this house? Which was not super smart, but everything worked out. But what was your feeling? Because you were excited.
Oh, yeah.
But like, were you like, did you go to Courtney and be like, hey, we just bought a house? Or you're like, she'll find out when we get back home?
No, yeah, it was more like I'm gonna just tell her when we get home, because
Yeah.
that was pretty. Uh, it was typical Brandon,
Yeah.
but because that's exactly what I do, and so I'm sure she wouldn't have been surprised, and she probably wasn't surprised when she found out. But I was, I mean, I wasn't really nervous. You know, I trusted David, so I knew the numbers were going to be there. And you know, he's not a sporadic guy like that. He's going to make sure everything's.
He checks into stuff, but
He
he is
checks into
sporadic.
things, but he's got his side of me, you know. So I respect that. But no, it was good. I was excited. Because I was ready for us to get one, and you know, just so happened I wasn't even in the country when it happened,
Yeah.
so it worked out. And you know, now we're a couple weeks away from finishing that one and looking for another one. And
Yeah.
you got to take those leaps and just take a risk sometimes and hope
Yeah.
it works out.
Yeah. And what's crazy is we've looked at dozens now, like in person, and
Yeah,
we've made offers on a couple. Some of them we backed out for different reasons, but like the one we're most interested in now, we made an offer sight unseen, and it's probably the most likely for us to get. So
yep,
like, it is. I remember getting into this and like hearing Pablo and all those guys, and they buy houses
yeah. I'm like, what?
without seeing them all the time. And it's like, how can you comfortably do that? But even after just doing it once,
Yeah,
I'm a lot more comfortable
yeah.
doing it.
It's insane the amount of knowledge that you'll get just stepping out and doing it,
Yeah.
and that's
And
a lot of people won't. You know, they're not. They want to. They think it's a good idea. They hear these stories and want to be involved, and that sounds great, and I would love that. But you got to just do it.
yeah,
You know, Nike that thing.
yeah, yeah. No, and there's a I don't remember what video I was watching, but it may have been it was a podcast, but I don't remember what they were talking about. But one of the things they were just simple is like not just do it, but like do more, like
Yeah,
do more than what the next guy is willing to do. Like if another investor that's starting out and you're both starting out, and they're not willing to go talk to 10 banks to find out which
yeah,
the best fit for them, talk to 20 contractors, they kind of make fun of me when we were first starting. I just went, like we were talking about earlier, I went to Lowe's, Home Depot, McCoy's, all the local lumber
yeah.
yards. I just got
I'm
my
like,
coffee in the
what?
morning
Why would you
and
do
just
that?
stood at the doors. I went there to set up our like a corporate accounts with like
Right.
our perks, but I was like, well, I'm here. I'm gonna hang out, and I just watched people walk through the door. They were wearing hats or shirts or merch that showed that they were a contractor, or they were in a company. I'd go ask for cards. I talked to them for a few minutes, and just got to know like people in the community that were doing it. And when it came time, I had a phone book full of people to call.
Yep.
And that's one of those things that you know I'm not trying to pat myself on the back with it, but like
That's what it takes. I
you
mean,
said
that's what
earlier in
it
the
takes.
video,
Yeah.
I had a lot of connections. I didn't realize how many connections I had. I made some doing that,
Yeah.
but after getting started and starting the social media content and getting videos out there, what we were doing, people that I knew that you were old clients or
Yep.
Facebook friends or people I knew that were friends of friends that we don't really know each other, but they see it, they come out of the woodworks. They're coming out, they're messaging you. One, either trying to get business with you, two, asking questions.
Yep.
But there's a tremendous amount of people that I've reconnected with over years of not talking that are in business for themselves or doing things that are like, hey man, what are you doing? What you got going on? That's awesome.
Oh
And we
yeah.
get to actually have a conversation about what they got going on in their life with their business as mine, which rolls back into what we're wanting to do here, which leads into basically guest.
Yeah.
We want to have guests, and I think, did you say it earlier? I said it. Like our main thing we wanted with a guest was you don't necessarily have to be self-employed.
No.
Um, you don't. You could be doing side things. We want interest. We have, like I said, we've got some people that are some musicians that
Yep.
step out of working for other people to pursue music. We got some pastors that are going to come talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's just doing something different than the normal 9 to 5, doing more
Yep.
than what your normal person is doing, going to work, coming home, going to bed, waking up, doing the whole same
Oh yeah.
thing over again.
You know, real estate agents, flippers. We got JT is going to come join us, our contractor,
Yeah.
and kind of fill y'all in on our first flip and how, we learned a lot with him, and just how that side of the construction side goes, and dealing with numbers, and um, the lingo is, it's crazy, the stuff that I never thought that I would even have to talk about.
Yeah.
That it has come up. And yeah, I mean, young, old, female, male, we don't care. Like, we just want to hear everybody's side of the story, because we want to learn, we want to grow as business owners, and as dads and husbands and friends, and hopefully we have something to offer you guys, and hopefully the guests we bring on have something to offer. And that's really all we want. I mean, have a little fun, learn something new about ourselves, and learn something new about other people in the community, and see what everybody's doing, because there's a lot of good ideas out there, and people's stories are interesting, and I
Yeah.
like to see where people come from and how they made it, because like I said, I'll dive into mine one day, but it's pretty interesting too, how I got from where I was to where I am now. And um, I know there's a lot more interesting stories than mine, so I'd like to
Yeah.
hear them.
Yeah, and it can't be bad for your business or
Yeah.
whatever you're doing. I mean, especially if you're like us and very new into it, we might not get, but 10 views, but that's 10 extra people that,
Hey,
saw it. So come talk to us. Maybe those 10
yeah,
people will give you some business. So,
y'all give us some ideas, or if you see this and you're interested, hit us up,
yeah.
and we'll get you on here. And I think it's going to be a good ride. I'm looking forward to it, and
Yeah.
can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. The last few minutes of our talk, I'm going to put our email address right above us. So if you're wondering why that was already there, because it's going to be there before this part. That is, if you're interested in come and join us on the podcast, having a conversation. If you got certain topics you want to hear from us, or if you want to come talk to us about a specific topic to kind of promote your business and what you're doing, just email us, give us kind of an idea of who you are, what you do, and we'll definitely schedule a time to have you on. And that email will be up here. Like I said, it is thecomfortzonepc@gmail.com. And I'll put it in the description as well. But thanks, guys, for hanging out with us today.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Dalton.
I'm Brandon.
Peace.
Have a good one.